Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Season 2. In the last episode, we were introduced to our main character, Max Dougal, who trespassed through a closed construction site where he found a large pothole. As you may or may not remember, Max fell into said pothole and was transported to a dreary, shadowy land where he met a gimp servant named Rump. Rump briefly informed Max of where he is and escorted him to his master, which was introduced a little later. Rump's master appeared to be a god of some sort, calling himself the Master of Fates, and is the very reason why Max is where he is. He explained that his world was in trouble and needed the help of someone special, aka Max. However, after Max found out how negligent the god truly was, Max left in a fit of rage and left the Master of Fates weeping as he went to go do his bidding. Now Max is currently warping to the land of Galavandrieal to start his adventure in aiding the people from its turmoil. This is where we will continue this story, in Episode 2, Adventuring in a New World. After leaving the Master of Fates and Rump guilt-ridden and storming off into the portal, Max Dougal begins his quest to fill the void that was left behind by a carelessly hypocritical god. How exactly does one do that? By repeating the same way he fell into the world between worlds, falling! Max warps into the new world to save its people by falling from the sky. He screams as he barrels down to the ground. Again, falling at such speed causes his body to shake and vibrate like a rubber band in the wind. As previously mentioned, falling at such an incredible speed, the wind pushes against Max's face, making his speech inaudible and incoherent, so no one could hear a word he was saying. As he nears the ground, he shuts his eyes thinking his adventure will end as soon as it began. But as luck would have it, a small tree would be there to break Max's fall. Well, not entirely. He crashes into several branches on the way down before landing on his head and his ass in the air. Son of a... Oh, God. Soon after that, Max rolls on his side and gets up. He looks around to try and spot any notable landmarks to go to. Unfortunately, all of Max's luck went to not dying from that fall, so now he has to hoof it to the closest town, wherever that is. He begins by walking east for a while and comes up empty. He then changes directions and goes south and still comes up empty. He then goes back west to see if he can spot a trail, or a lake, or something. But still, nothing. He then tries going north, and what do you know? He sees something in the distance. Happy to finally get something going, he runs towards it to spot something standing out from the rest. And eventually, he reaches it, and when he does, he takes a quick breather. Once recuperated, he gets up to check out the distinguished point of interest. Almost immediately after arriving, Max realizes that he is circled back to the same tree that broke his fall. I'm gonna die out here, aren't I? Going round and round in circles, wasting his time in a world that he begrudgingly took upon himself, not knowing a dang thing about it. Max is left lost, helpless, and out of options. So all he does is wait like a helpless damsel in distress for a brave knight to... All right, Mr. Speaker, we get it. You can shut up now, please. Come to his rescue. Several hours pass, and much to Max's dismay, his knight in shining armor would come shuffling by. A short, older man carrying a large sack with a bundle of wood strapped to the top of it comes across Max and sees him sleeping in the shade of the tree, snoring. The man smirks and kicks Max's feet to wake him up. Huh? What? Who? I didn't do it. Huh? The little man smiles and laughs at the distressed-looking Max. After Max wakes up and realizes what's going on, he comes to his senses and realizes that he's been saved and is excited to see another person. So much so that he jumps and hugs the man, who is open to hug and reciprocate with a hug of his own. You lost their friend? If so, I'm making my way back to town. I can escort you if you need. Without uttering a word, Max happily weeps and eagerly nods to the friendly man. The man smiles and laughs jovially and leads the way, going eastbound, the same direction that Max started going before he lost his way. As the two walk, they talk and share conversation with one another. "What's your name there, friend?" "My name is Rupert." Max Dougal." "Dougal? Max? Now that is oddly peculiar. Never heard either of those names here in Galavandrieal." "That would be correct. I'm not from here at all. As a matter of fact, I'm from another land, in a manner of speaking." "Is that right? Where do you hail from? Brexalia? Isabellith? Commodore? I've been to all, and they have welcomed me, and I try to do the same to all those I cross paths with." "Wow, you sure do get around a lot. But sadly, I'm not from any of those lands. I'm actually from a whole other world." Rupert stops and pauses after hearing of Max mention that he is from another world. He is visibly stunned, but also filled with warmth, knowing what it could all mean. "Well, that's a first for me. Maybe it's a good thing that I was the first person you ran into. Not many folks are very welcoming, especially now given our time of turmoil that we're currently going through." "Oh, that's right. I heard that this land was going through some sort of tough times before I got here. If you'd be willing, could you enlighten me of what sort of turmoil you guys are currently going through?" "Of course. This land is being ruled over by a harsh tyrant that deemed himself king. He came out of nowhere, like you, and just started making a mess of everything. Destroying habitats of wild creatures, causing them to become hostile and more territorial, as well as act out savagely at times at innocent travelers, as well as attacking villages and towns at random. He has also created a lot of outlandish laws that were against the citizens and more in favor of his reign. He also gives free control and power to those that serve him, allowing them to be drunk with power. He has also increased taxes, causing all citizens to become poor and unable to support their families, let alone themselves. And lastly, probably the worst thing he has allowed, slavery. He has brought it back and pays a hefty sum to slave owners that force their slaves to erect his ridiculously absurd monuments." Erect. "This is no laughing matter, Mr. Dougal. People's lives are at stake. Children being ripped from their parents and homes, parents working tirelessly to provide what they can for their family, only to be killed for something as minor as breathing out of line. Neighboring lands that I've previously mentioned are aware of our circumstances, and some are trying their best to help, but they've been thwarted by the king. These are dire times indeed, Max Dougal. The people of this land need someone to stand up and fight for them. They need someone to look up to." Moved by Rupert's sentiment and conviction, Max feels compelled to do something, regardless if he was tasked with the heavy burden or not. "Wow. Your words have moved me, Rupert. I'm sorry for laughing, and honestly, I'll help out in any way I can, for you and for the innocent people of this land." Rupert ignores Max and continues to walk, but as he walks, he can't help but crack a smile. Very well, Max Dougal. To help you help others, I will show you around town to get you better acquainted with how our world works. I'll show you the popular spots in town and all the main folks that'll help you move around. Max smiles and pulls on Rupert's shoulder. Rupert turns to him and sees that Max is sticking his hand out, gesturing to shake as a goodwill. Rupert again smiles and shakes his newly acquainted friend's hand. After doing so, they walk a little farther east and make it to the town of Tavernsburg. Rupert enters the town of Tavernsburg, and in tow is Max. Max comes in and is stunned. He's stunned to see a bustling, sprawling town filled with cheery, honest, hard-working folks going about their business. It stuns Max because he thought the town would be run down, shabby, disease-infested, and filled with less than 50 people. But he thought wrong. Seeing Max's expression has Rupert laughing openly and grabs his arm to pull him in to give him a tour of the town. Welcome to Tavernsburg, Max Dougal, the only town with more pubs and bars than anywhere else in all of Galavandrieal. Let me show you those important places that you should go to start your adventure. Rupert shows Max around, leaving him filled with awe and joy. "Hey, Rupert's back in town. Welcome back, buddy." Rupert smiles and waves at the citizen before he continues to guide Max to the first point of interest in town. "All right, Max. This here will be our first stop, and it will be your most important stop. The Adventurers Guild. This here's where folks that live in this region start off. However, you won't. There is a buy-in fee to become a member, whether it is gold or completing specific quests. The leader of the Adventurers Guild is named Yorick, and he is a hot-headed, prideful man. He has a lot of sway and power in this town, but don't let that fool you. He's one of the good ones. He's just the way he is to encourage those that wish to adventure, as well as to show those a glimpse of what adventuring is all about. He doesn't like to see folks run about and recklessly dive for no cause, nor does he send anyone out to their deaths. After we are done with our tour, you should come back here and have a word with him to get you started. But until then, let us continue to the marketplace." Rupert leads the way through the town and comes across a worn-out but beautiful fountain. From the fountain, they head north to the markets. As they make their way, the streets start to change. Less homes and more businesses. Larger buildings, big stalls, and carts packed and loaded with goods to sell, and more. The friendly and charming aesthetic of the village radically shifted to a busy and cramped, although lively market square. "Rupert has returned. Here you go, my friend. A token of gratitude for what you did for me and my family in our time of need." "Thank you for your kind words and lovely gift. Give my best to your wife and kids for me." The now second citizen that has openly come up and greeted Rupert waves goodbye as Rupert leaves him to guide Max deeper into the market. They pass through a crowd of people and make it to the back end of the market, where buildings primarily lay. "All right, listen up, Max. These two buildings will be your most important ones to go to for any tools, weapons, or spells you'll need. Grimble's Magical Sack and the Adventurer's Shop. But be cautious of both the merchants in these shops. Grimble is a dramatic older man with a short fuse. Say the wrong word and he'll flip his lip and give you one of his many, many lectures. Now Hubert at the Adventurer's Shop is different. He's very charismatic and charming. He knows how to sell his merchandise, of which he carries a great deal of. But he is also greedy. He has the lust for gold, and if you go into his shop without any, then you'll see a rather unbecoming side of him. As for the rest of the shops here in the marketplace, all the stalls bring their own flair, and I recommend that you try something from everyone, but that'll have to wait. Come along. There are 2 other spots for you to check out. Rupert guides Max back to the center of town, where the fountain was, and they go west towards the Colosseum. After a short walk, they arrive, and Max is gobsmacked. A large marble sphere with a large opening on the top to let air and sunlight in, but smoke and noise out. Here is the Colosseum, the main building for events, particularly for sporting. Every few weeks, the showrunner changes which sport that'll be held. There are many events that go on year-long, let me tell you. There's racing by horse or bull, wrestling, gladiatorial duels, tests of strength,
knowledge,
or endurance, swimming trials, archery, mystical magistry, and many, many more. I am very good friends with the showrunner here. I'll put in a good word for you to help get you some gold in your pocket, as well as help build your reputation here in town, which should help you further down the line throughout Galavandrieal. Let us go to one more important stop before we part ways. Come along. They go back to the center of town and go east of the fountain and come across a large singular building with a number of tables and servers coming in and out of the building.
Rupert, it's you! I'm so glad to see you return safe and sound. The town has been missing you for quite some time. Welcome back.
Rupert hugs the citizen, has a brief chat with them, and then returns to Max. Apologies, Max. This here is the mess hall. This is where our two best cooks work with each other to provide all the food we have available for everyone in town. Now I know what you're thinking. That's a lot of work for two people to do, right? Well, you would be wrong. The two prep and cook while they have servers bring the food out, as well as have setters to plate the food for them. I will also mention to them of an extra set of hands in the future to help you along. They'll let you work for them because I'm also good friends of theirs. As a matter of fact, I officiated their wedding. I'm starting to get the feeling that you're good friends with everyone here. Not just the shop owners, or the showrunners, or cooks, but all the folks calling out your name, excited to see you again, and giving you gifts. You must do a lot for these people. Well, there's a good reason for that. And if you'll let me explain by taking you to one last final surprise. Max smiles and happily agrees as he follows Rupert to the final surprise stop. They go back to the center of town and go south from the fountain, where they come across a large regal-looking building. This here's the central office or building of Tavernsburg. It is also a place where many citizens come here for aid of any sort, as well as a place to sleep if needed. This is also my home. Come again? Ah, you are amusing, Max Dougal, and you are a delight to be around. Because I like you and your charming company, I'll be leaving a room vacant for you to stay at for as long as you need, free of charge. Just talk to one of the secretaries when you want to sleep, and they'll show you to your room. Now that I've explained and shown everything there is that you'll need to know, it is time for us to part ways. Don't worry, we will still see each other throughout town. Wait, Rupert, before you go, can you answer me this last question? Of course. What is it, my friend? Given your reputation in this town, as well as a number of things, can I only assume that you're the mayor of this town? Ho ho ho! You are quite perceptive, Max Dougal. You are half correct. I'm not the mayor of Tavernsburg, but rather the town leader. I guide all those in this town and protect each and every citizen as if they were my own children. After dropping that bombshell of information onto Max, he is left stunned and speechless. Again, Rupert just smiles, pats Max on his shoulder, then he finally leaves him. And that is the end of episode 2. Thank you for coming back for another episode of season 2, folks. I do hope you are enjoying this, as we have 20 plus episodes more to go through. Yes, I know, 20. Even I was surprised. But if you're enjoying it so far, stick around for more because, well, it's only going to get more fun. I hope. Have a good night.